all the girls, when you went in, first of all, you had to go into the postal department and deliver all the mail all around the offices. You had to go down there. There was a place called the Golden Mile where all the bosses were, and then you took all the things in there and you had to do it all properly and put it on the desk properly, you know, and if you didn't, then they'd say something to the chap that was in charge of it. It wasn't really a job you want to stay at very long, you know. I went into the invoicing department, and then after that I got put into the cost office, and I didn't really like it to start with because it was quite big, and so I went into the office manager and said, could I go back to the invoicing, because my friend was in there, and he looked at me, I was only 15, and he said, don't be such a little madam, get back into the cost office, which I did, because I was scared.
Gosh, you were only 15?
Yeah, because we left school earlier then, and yes, it was lovely. I got to like the cost office. It was really nice. When they did the wages, you had to go down like it was like in the cellars really, and put all the wages up, and you had to do it all by hand. You had every wage packet. You had to put all the different monies in the packet, and if it was a penny out, they wouldn't let you out. We were locked in this little room.
Were you?
And if the man that was in charge of it was quite funny. If an aeroplane went over, he pulled the blinds down. Whether he thought they were going to parachute out into the office. I mean, there was a lot of money, obviously, in there. We were doing the whole of the factory's wages.
In the postal department, it was mostly collating post, delivering post to different offices, using a franking machine, which they were very strict about. You're not making any mistakes because everyone cost money. I moved into the order department. I worked in the typing pool. My last job was in the wages department, working out the wages for all of the factory workers. We would get the clock-in cards delivered to us, and we had to work out how many hours. If they were late, we'd deduct money from them. And we used a machine called a comptometer, which was a very, very early calculator, but everything was with buttons and it was very difficult. Have you ever seen a comptometer? You need to see one. And they're the most ridiculous things, and you had to do it twice to make sure it was right the first time.
The typing pool, there were 12 of us, and it was above the where the pie rooms were. So in the summer, the floor was quite hot. They sent I think he was there for about 3 months, a consultant who looked at everything and decided he was making the plans for what exactly we needed. So they were planning that we would have our own computer, and then we had to advertise to have the computer manager. So all this went out to all sorts of publications, and lots of letters came back. So then I had the job of sorting them, and I made a huge chart with their names, their ages, where they worked, what their qualifications were, and they chose half a dozen to interview. Well, the chap who eventually got the job, I was asked if I would be his secretary. So I was then secretary to eventually he was called the technical director.
I did all the typing for the boss, obviously, and all the personnel typing for Mr. Potter. And we had to make sure that all the holiday dates were written up for each department, for the wages department, so that they got their pay. I thought I'd tell you about the time when we had to evacuate the offices and the factory because we had a bomb scare. So everybody was evacuated except for me, because my boss said I had to go round and check all the ladies' toilets, the cisterns and everywhere. So that's what I did. It was only a bomb hoax, but it did disrupt the whole day. We had a printing department, and I don't know why, but every time they had overtime, I had to fill in special forms, which was every week because they always did overtime. But I had to also make sure that every year I got the licenses for them to slaughter the pigs. Otherwise, the factory would be at a standstill.